when he first walked into the gym, and I'll tell the stories, his very first fight he ever had, Crazy Bob was in the back. They were getting ready to announce his name. And Bob, you could tell, was nervous. There's a lot going on, and DC's first fight, he'd only been training, I want to say, for like 3 or 4 weeks. He hadn't been training long. And they already had a fight for him, and so he's like, and no joke, in the middle of Bob kind of like pacing, DC getting amped up, and he just turns to Bob and goes, Bob, he's like, don't worry about this, man. I'm a fucking gamer when the lights turn on. When someone tells you that, your mind goes a little bit at ease. Like, okay, you're ready for this moment. Like, I mean, DC was a 2-time Olympian. Like, it's a pretty fucking big stage, and here he is fighting in this little podunk show with like, 700 people. It's like, I'm a 2-time Olympian. This shit does not scare me at all. I've gone over to other countries and wrestled in front of thousands of people where they want to kill you if you beat their guy.
That's true.
And so he's like, Bob, he's like, don't worry, when the lights turn on, I'm a fucking gamer. And that's something that resonated with me with him, and just progressively, just as we've been around each other, he's all the improvements, everything from the way he is on the mic, to the way he is with people, to the way he is with his opponents, to the way he is just period about the sport in general. Like, he's engulfed this sport and made it like his new thing. Before it was wrestling, but he always talks highly of wrestling, always talks highly of Oklahoma State wrestling, always talks highly of John Smith, always talks highly of everybody that he's been around. And I say that like people that are positive, it's contagious. If you continue to be contagious, if you continue to be positive, it's contagious. Other people will follow suit. And he just finds ways to attract people. And he'll give it to you real, though, too, when he needs to. But most of the time, it's a lot of joking around and playing around. I really feel that this is the perfect opportunity for him to have icing on the cake. Now, I don't know if he's going to get it done. As much as I would love him to get it done. Okay. And as much as people want to call me homers, fuck yeah, I'm going to be a fucking homer. He's my boy, and I'm going to continue to be that way. I'm going to cheer for him. I'm going to say he's going to win this fight. But I got to tell you, honestly, the age difference is a big deal. That scares me a little bit. The inactivity since his last fight, that scares me a little bit. The amount of weight he put on between that fight and this fight, that scares me a little bit. He's already getting his weight down. He already looks a little bit better. Physically, he already looks better. When I look at him, I'm like, oh, you have lost some weight, or you just shaved your head because you lost the battle with the hair. But either way, and I sent him a text, told him like, oh, you finally gave up the battle, huh? You shaved your head? Because it was over years ago, brother. You tried to hold on to that shit too long. But when you're having these conversations with him, he like a beacon of light, man. He's funny about it. He loves it. There's never any negative energy out of him. And what you see is what you get. The way you see him on TV, that's who he is in the gym. And that's who he is, with the boys when you're all hanging out. That's who he is when his family's around. Nothing changes. That's who he is. And whether he wins or loses, which I think he's going to win, but it's going to be a fucking barn burner of a fight. He's going to have to get his shit together, because the first fight was a fight that I think he surprised himself. And the reason why he surprised himself in there is because he was packing more power in his punches. He knew it, but he also knew he could out wrestle Stipe if he needed to, but it never got to that point, But in the second fight, he carried that over, and that worked against him. I think in this third fight, he needs to go back to his roots. And I think he's got some guys that are coming in and helping him, wrestle, do a lot more wrestling involved, but he's got to still mix it up.
I saw he was working out with Kerry McCoy.
Yes, he was, and I think he's going to be there. I think Kerry McCoy's going to be there for a little bit, helping him work out for a couple more weeks. So it's just, but periodically to get back and forth, not every day, but there's going to be a lot of influence, I think, from a lot of the guys that he wrestled with in college, and a lot of guys that he looked up to that are going to be coming in and kind of helping out and making sure he ends up winning and getting this thing, finishing on top. And I think for him, I don't want to say legacy because it's so overused, legacy. But for him, it really kind of solidifies him with the Olympics not going his way, college wrestling not what he wanted it to be. This is for him. This is like that icing on the cake. Let me finish my career on top in this situation. I think there's a lot of things on his mind. He wants this so bad. So fucking bad.
I understand that he wants it bad, but you have to be realistic about certain things. And you can go back and take a look at his wrestling career at OSU. You know, he happened to be in a weight class that had a guy named Phil Sanderson.
Yeah.
Okay, who was the only undefeated wrestler 4 years in Division I ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Okay. Dan Gable didn't do it. The people say what they want. He had his one loss. You know, and you take a look at what he's done in fighting. DC doesn't need to fight anybody. He's what, 22-2 now?
Yeah.
Okay, something like that. He doesn't need to fight anybody again. His legacy is set. He has accomplished more in MMA than he did in any other athletic activity he ever did, be it football in high school or college wrestling or even going to the Olympics, because he was a world champion in MMA.
He did it in this amount of time.
He was a multi-division champion in MMA. All right. And not only did he do it, you know, in a way that, like you're saying, he has an energy about, he's a winner.
Yeah.
He's just a winner, and he doesn't have to win again. The one thing that he does need to do
is wrestle.
He needs to wrestle. Oh, dude. And he needs to learn how to stop that left hand to the body.
Yeah.
Because that left hand to the body will take all of that good working that he's trying to do right now to get himself in shape, and it will punch a hole in his gas tank fast.
Yeah.
So go back and watch the setup of that hand and figure out, how do I defend against that particular technique? Because look at Stipe now figures he's got the blueprint on how to beat DC. I don't blame him. I would think the same thing.
That's not enough.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was here. Let me just give you this. It was enough for that second fight for him to knock him out.
Yeah. But it's not, it won't be enough this fight. It won't be. It does concern me though. You want to know why?
It will be if he doesn't change it.
He'll change it. He's going to wrestle. Okay. He's going to wrestle the fuck out of him is what he's going to do. Problem is, in the middle of all this, at 41 years old or 42, he's 41. At 41, it's hard to wrestle the fuck out of someone when you're 41 years old. Your gas tank isn't the same as it used to be. So he needs to make sure this fight may end up being a little bit boring, because if DC gets him down, he doesn't need to stay active. He just needs to weather him down. He just needs to wear him down to the point where Stipe, when he gets back up, doesn't have the same pop on his punches, the same amount of power, the same speed. Because DC, even at 41, I don't give a shit. He's more athletic and he's faster and all those things than Stipe. Stipe is not an athletic person when you compare him to DC. Not even close. Even at 41 years old. And
he's an athletic person.
He is, but not against DC.
He's an athletic person, Josh.
Not against DC. He's athletic, but not against DC. We were talking different levels of being an athlete. Different levels. There's levels to this game. I recall that being said one time. And DC is a different level when it comes to being an athlete. Now, the matter of fighting that way is completely different. He needs to make sure that he fights smart. He took it for granted, I think, the second fight, and just went out there thinking he could do the same thing he did in the first fight. I don't think you're gonna see that with him. I don't think it's gonna be a tough fight. But if DC fights to his ability and fights a smart fight, I think, my personal opinion is, and no bias, this my personal opinion is, if he fights to his ability and he fights a smart fight, I don't think the fight's even close. But here's the thing. Will he do that? We don't know. Will he do that? I don't know. Even as his friend, I can't fucking tell you. I can't tell you. It doesn't matter. I can't tell you what he's going to do. As much as I want to see him wrestle, wrestling's fucking exhausting. I can say, and he could say, I'm going to wrestle. But trying to take Stipe down, even if he has never wrestled a day in his fucking life, it's still, even if it is easy, it's still a lot of work at 41 years old. Is a lot of work.
Doesn't matter. It's not easy. He's got to put out a lot of energy to make that happen.
Yep.
And in my opinion, other than what you're saying, if he just lays on top of him, that's not going to work for him. He has to do damage on the ground. He has to do things that puts Stipe in a position where he's being diminished throughout that round. He does that, he can win the fight. He just wrestles. Eventually, he's going to get tired of wrestling. And then here comes the body shot.
agree. Okay.